Summer's finally here. The worst time to do literally anything. Not that it matters to me very much, because the only time I go outside is to pick up my daily 4 Uber Eats orders. It's gotten to the point now where the Uber Eats app is like, we noticed you ordered Subway 8 times this week. You're not alone. Help is available. But all the same, with summer here, I wanted to do some summer type movies, you know? Like I did Mamma Mia a couple months ago, but surely there must be more summer movies. Back during COVID lockdown, tons of movies were coming straight to streaming. Remember that? Like so many movies just came and went and no one ever thinks about them now. Like for example, Pixar put out Soul, Turning Red, Onward, Lightyear, Elemental, and LUCA all during this time. Everyone loves Turning Red, but like no one remembers anything about any of these other ones, like at all. And I was thinking about how like maybe these movies didn't get a fair shake. It was a weird time, you know, like every single commercial was like, hey guys, life's real crazy right now, but we're all in this together, so like buy a new car or something or whatever. But all the same, LUCA came out in 2021. It got good reviews, people liked it well enough, but like I said, it was just so ephemeral. And so looking at some summer movies to make videos about, I wanted to go back and check out LUCA. So come along kids, let's take a walk. But before that, really quick, this video is brought to you by Raycon. Well, summer's here, the worst season of the year. And while you're sweating yourself into a coma wondering when the Lord will finally take you, at least you can do it while listening to your new Raycon Everyday headphones, am I right? Let me tell you about these here headphones, okay? Everything you love about the everyday earbuds, but in a Bluetooth headphone. Let me tell you, these things are pretty great. 40-hour battery life, quick charge function gives you 2 hours of battery for every 15 minutes of charging. Someone calls you on the phone, heaven forbid. These guys come with built-in 5-point microphones for talking on the phone, which some people do, apparently, or so I've heard. Now, the most important function for headphones like this, of course, is noise canceling, or officially, hybrid active noise cancellation, which is a fancy way of saying that the headphones listen to your surroundings and cancel out the noise accordingly. And this works exactly how you want it to, okay? I tried them at the gym the other day where, once again, it was Creed night, and finally I didn't have to experience any of that. Thanks, Raycon. And all this for less than half the price of the other guys? You know how rare it is to get this level of noise cancellation for less than $100? Well, if you go to buyraycon.com/Meyers15, you'll get 15% off your own pair of Raycon Everyday headphones. They also come with a 30-day no question asked happiness guarantee, so you literally have nothing to lose. Go to buyraycon.com/Meyers15 and get 15% off your very own pair of Raycon Everyday headphones today. Okay, back to the show. The movie starts out with our main character, LUCA, who's like a merman fish shepherd.
Wait! Giuseppe, get back here!
Just a quick shout out to Pixar here for not using the goat scream meme, which was funny for all of 2 weeks back in 2009 and never again. But someone in Hollywood still thinks this is comedy gold, I tell you what. Anyway, so Luca's just your average 13-year-old merman who just kind of like lives the same day over and over again, doing chores, never leaving his home, always wondering what's above the surface of the ocean but too scared to find out.
Luca.
Huh?
What's on your mind?
I was just wondering, where do boats come from?
Oh, trust me, Luca. Nothing good goes on up there. Open up any social media app and scroll for just like a little bit too long and you're just like...
I don't wipe my ass, so I do get yeast infections more often than most people.
Lord, I am ready. Take me in your arms. But okay, so one day, Luca's out herding his fish, as one does, and he finds something a little interesting at the bottom of the ocean. Now, he was curious before, okay, but obviously this makes his interest in the human world, like, even stronger. So, Ariel sings a song about wanting to be part of the outside world and look at everyone's feet, or whatever the song's about. But Dan, the chief of the island's like, no, Moana, you're staying here, because it's too dangerous. But then Rapunzel's like, shut up, you're not my real mom. This is my house too, okay? But turns out Luca's grandma has been to the surface before?
The land monster town, just above the surface. I beat a guy at cards there once.
Mom, what are you doing?
He's old enough to hear about it.
You've been to the surface and done the change?
No, the end. Shut it down.
You ever like hang out with old people and they'll just casually drop the most insane lore for no reason? Hey grandma, I'm almost done making your favorite breakfast, applesauce and medicine. You know, back in the 70s, I killed 2 of my husbands with antifreeze. Say what? But okay, so one day, probably the next day, I assume, Luca's out doing whatever he does, and then something a little weird happens. No gods or kings, only man.
Huh?
It's fine. I'm not human.
So this little dude is Alberto, and he loves to swim around and gathering up all the human garbage he can find. Asmongold, and then just takes it all up to the surface?
What are you doing? Help me!
First time?
Oh no, Luca, you're human now. Don't do it. This is how it starts. Next thing you know, you're walking down the frozen dinner aisle looking at the packages and thinking, oh wow, that is a good amount of protein for 500 calories. Meanwhile, there's a bag of broccoli in the back of your freezer. It's been there since like 9/11 happened, just disintegrating into dust and broken dreams. Anyway, turns out Alberto's just like some orphan mermaid kid who just like hangs out all day. It's very like Ghibli-esque kind of place. Really, this whole movie has some great Ghibli vibes, which was intentional apparently. And like it really sets this movie apart. Like it gives it such a cozy kind of feeling that I don't think any other Pixar movie has. But okay, so the next chunk of the movie is just about like Luca and Alberto being friends, and Alberto's teaching him all about how to be human. You know, like how to walk.
Wait, it feels like it's still there.
Yeah, that's called Phantom Tail. You'll get used to it. Right. Walking. Don't worry, you're in luck. I basically invented it.
And most importantly, how to ride a Vespa. Now this is a huge pivotal plot point here because for some reason, Alberto and Luca are just real set on living out their Lizzie McGuire movie dreams, you know, getting their own Vespa and just kind of hey nowing their way all over Italy. Nay, the world.
What's that?
Oh, it's just the greatest thing that humans ever made. The Vespa.
Whoa.
You just sit on it, and it takes you anywhere you want to go. In the whole stinking world.
Vespa is freedom.
Now, this whole idea is very appealing to Luca because he spent his whole life herding fish to and fro, but also his parents have started to catch on to his little shenanigans of going to the surface of all things. See, I knew letting you on that has-been hotel RP Discord would lead to nothing but trouble.
The world is a very dangerous place, Luca. And if I have to send you to the bottom of the ocean to keep you safe, so be it.
You don't know what it's like up there.
I know you. And I know what's best for you.
You know, few things are more frustrating than parents who, like, think they know you, but, like, they literally don't. Now, Luca's parents are done letting their son be raised by TikTok and video games, all right? So, they call in the dad's brother, aka Luca's uncle, because that's how that works. And this guy knows a thing or two about troubled teens, okay?
Too much oxygen up here, not like the deep. Sure, there's no sunlight, but there's nothing to see anyway. All the whale carcass you can eat. You can't see it, so if the mouth opened, the whale carcass go in. Yes.
You know, I feel like everyone has that one, like, absurdly out-of-pocket uncle who's just always like, yeah, you know, I used to be married, but she left me for a polar bear. I don't trust banks, so I keep all my money folded between craft singles. Sometimes I wonder, like, you ever teeth? So the plan is to send Luca away with his uncle to the depths of the ocean so he can spend the summer in darkness. But so now especially, Luca wants that Vespa to ride around with Alberto all day, every day, doing cool human stuff like being on hold with the DMV for 4 hours and then they tell you have to come in person. So then you go there and you wait another 2.5 hours and then the girl behind the desk is like, hey, did you know that you can do all this over the phone instead? Wow, why didn't I think of that? So they head into the local town of Portorosso to find Signor Vespa and get their complimentary Vespa from the Teen Coming of Age movie factory.
Ride of Portorosso coming through! Ciao, Belen. You're making me blush. And now, who wants to watch me eat a big sandwich?
So this guy is Ercole, the coolest dude in town, in case you couldn't tell. And he bought his Vespa by winning this like local triathlon thing the town puts on every year, and he's won it like 5 times in a row, much to the chagrin of local redhead Spitfire quirky girl, Giulia.
That's how you're training for the race?
Si, certo. Your reign of terror is coming to an end.
You mean like a year ago, when you quit in the middle of the race? Because you couldn't stop throwing up?
I didn't quit. They made me stop.
I think that is worse.
So, Luca and Alberto figure that Giulia must know a thing or two about how Ercole got that Vespa, right? And she tells them that every year there's this Portorosso competition for 12 to 16-year-olds. They have to do like a swimming thing, eat a huge plate of pasta, and then ride a bike on this crazy mountain course. And apparently, winning this gives 12-year-olds enough money to buy a Vespa. Like, the heck kind of place is this? And so, long story short, Luca and Alberto team up with Giulia to enter the competition. They want the money for a Vespa, obviously, but Giulia doesn't really seem to care much about the money itself. She's only in it for revenge.
Why do you want a Vespa again?
Oh, because it'll be amazing. Every day, me and Alberto are gonna ride someplace new. How about you? What'll you do when you win?
Oh, I'll get up in front of everyone and say, told you I'd win.
Yeah. And then what?
Well, that's it.
So, I was curious and I looked this up, and apparently Urkele is 18. He just spends all of his time stunting on 13-year-olds. What a guy. And so our three main characters train and practice. Giulia's gonna swim, Luca's gonna do the bike part, and Alberto has the very difficult task of eating pasta. Now, during all this training, Luca, Alberto, and Giulia are quickly becoming friends, and Luca gets really interested in this weird thing called school.
This is how machines fly?
See?
And there are big towns called cities, and we're all on a big round rock, floating around a star in the solar system?
So cool, right?
And is there anything beyond the solar system?
I don't know. But next year, in advanced astronomy, I'm going to use my school's telescope.
But Alberto's starting to become a little jealous of Luca and Giulia's friendship because Luca is his friend, okay? And here comes some girl with hair and stuff and her comically deep knowledge of space, trains, and dinosaurs. And she's like, hi, I like rocks and I'm emotionally unavailable. And then Luca's over here and by Luca, I mean me. And by Giulia, I mean every girl I've ever dated. But Alberto just wants to ride their Vespa around the world together, you know? And Luca's over here talking about going to school like a nerd.
Julia says there's an even bigger one at our school.
The whole reason we're getting a Vespa is to live on our own. We don't need school. We don't need anybody.
Couldn't we just try it? Just for a few days?
Luca, sea monsters can't go to school.
Now, this kind of erupts into something a lot bigger than any of them intended when Alberto tries to ruin Luca and Giulia's friendship by exposing himself to Giulia. Wait, guys, no, hold on. Let's try that one again. By exposing them as mermen to Giulia.
Help! Don't hurt us!
See? I knew this would happen.
Monster!
Luca?
Stay back!
Luca, my dude, what the heck? I was on your side. Why'd you have to go and do that? Slight tangent here, but I do appreciate that they let Luca, make mistakes and kind of be bad or whatever. So many modern movies, they're so afraid of having their main characters, be an imperfect human who gets caught up in their emotions. That's one thing about the Disney live-action remakes that always kind of annoys me, is, the main characters are always just these, perfect beacons of justice, and, they never do or say anything wrong. They have no internal struggle whatsoever. But anyway, also, while this is all going on, Luca's parents have started to catch on to what he's been doing this whole time. Hey, same thing happened to me back in middle school when my parents found my fake out-of-town girlfriend who totally lives in Canada. They weren't mad. They just cried for a really long time. But so, they end up going to the surface to look for Luca, trying to figure out which human kid is theirs. You know how it is.
Hey guys, can I play too? Oh, sorry, I'm not used to legs.
Oh, okay.
Dracula, get the ball!
Come and get it.
Not our kid, not our kid.
This mom just murders 17 kids. Anyway, so the end of the movie, Luca and Giulia end up doing the competition separately because, understandably, Alberto has run off to be alone forever. Luca uses Alberto's scuba suit from earlier so as not to turn back into a fish man. They both eat their respective absurdly large bowl of pasta, and then it's time for the bicycle part. Except it starts to rain, and as we saw earlier, when they touch water, they turn back into mermen, right? So what is he gonna do?
Just stay right there.
Alberto.
I'm coming for you.
Afraid of a little rain?
Hey!
Huh? For the last time, you two don't belong here. Get out of my town.
And so, the very end of the movie, everyone in town sees that Alberto is a sea monster, but Luca decides to throw the race and go save Alberto for being hunted by the townspeople, which of course means that Luca's cover's blown too, and then everyone's like, ah. However, by escaping from Urkele, they end up kinda sorta winning the race, question mark?
They are not even people.
Signora Marsigliese?
Technically, legally, yes, they won.
We won?
Who cares if they won? They're sea monsters.
Hey, well, there's nothing in the rulebook that says a dog can't play basketball. And just like that, racism is cured forever. The humans and sea monsters live in harmony together and no one was ever mean ever again. Luca's parents realize that the little boy is growing up and needs to live his own life, so he ends up going to school with Giulia, but she goes to school in some far-off city and she was just staying in this town for the summer. And so when she goes back, she takes Luca along with her.
I'm okay. Piacere. Girolamo, trombetta.
Seriously, what does that mean?
No idea. Go find out for me, will ya?
And then Luca and Julia ride off together on the train, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. Yeah, this movie's definitely much smaller scale than something like Cars 3 or Coco or even Soul. But you know, there's something I really like about just how cozy it is. It almost feels like Kiki's Delivery Service or something like that, where like it's not about saving the world or reviving a dead god or whatever. It's just kids spending the summer together learning important life lessons like the power of friendship and how older kids are always mean for some reason. I think this movie deserves a lot more than it got in terms of being in like the Pixar pantheon, you know? Not that it's this amazing, mind-blowing experience, but like, I don't know, it's just such a nice, cozy, easy watch. You know what I mean? This movie made some really interesting choices that I think make it end up being a lot more than the sum of its parts. Like with Julia's dad, for example, we see that he's missing an arm, and regarding that, he says this.
A sea monster ate it.
What?
No. This is how I came into the world.
It would have been so easy to fall back on like the usual trope of like he lost his arm when he was a kid because of a sea monster and he's been hunting them ever since, or his missing arm is the source of his jaded personality, like that one fish in Finding Nemo, you know? But no, he just has one arm and like it doesn't mean anything. He's lived a perfectly normal life up to now. Little things like this make this movie stand out, to me at least. I also love when Julia gets upset and she just yells cheese names.
Oh, Santa Mozzarella.
Oh, Santa Gorgonzola, I need to pack.
like it's dumb, but I don't know, it's just funny. Like, I wish we got a lot more movies like this, honestly. You know, I think I've said the same thing about a couple other movies like Bottoms and Lisa Frankenstein. 10 Things I Hate About You, I think, is one as well. The thing I really like about LUCA is that it never tries to be more than it is. They have a vision for what movie they wanted to make, and then they just did that. Like so many movies, especially Netflix movies for some reason, it feels like they're always trying to be so many different things, and they're trying to check a ton of boxes, and they're trying to be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's like they're trying to be like several different movies all together because just like more is better. We need tons of stuff. Heaven forbid the audience gets bored or has to think or anything like that. No. Just throw a bunch of stuff at it. But movies like LUCA, like it's very slow, and there's not something at the end where they have to, you know, fight a giant sea monster or they have to defend the town from something. Like, it's nothing like that, you know? Like, that's not what the movie is. And like nowadays with movies, I don't know, it's almost kind of backwards just because like you're taking a huge risk to make a movie like kind of slow and not have like 4 different plot twists with some like eldritch god coming to life at the end, and like just having a movie about kids winning a bicycle race. You know what I mean? Like, it's like for some reason that's like taking a risk now. Just kind of funny. I guess everything is subjective and based on context. So like when I first saw LUCA, I think it was like I half watched it on an airplane or something like that. But like watching it back now after having watched a bunch of other, you know, stuff that I make videos about, it's like, you know, there's something really nice about the cozy simplicity of this movie.